We're going to start with a quick word from FanDuel, though. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA and the NFL. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when their first $5 bet wins. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And, guys, we got an incredible winning ticket from our guy, Darren Smith, a friend of the program, Darren Smith.
Look at that.
He hit a 25-part parlay yesterday. 25 parts. He bet $10. He won $1,424.74
That's like
on
Powerball.
that 25-game parlay. Yeah. Shout out to our guy, Darren. If you have a winning ticket, make sure you send it in, and you can walk away with over $1,400, just like our dear friend, Darren Smith. So shout out to Darren. His Chiefs also got a win yesterday.
Yeah.
If you have a winning FanDuel ticket, make sure you send it in so we can feature it right here.
I don't believe in jinxes, but if anything, Mike just got the Chiefs back to the playoffs.
You're welcome.
You were counting out the Chiefs yesterday, and it all went to hell from there.
At what point when it was like 24 to what was the score?
Whatever. It was 20 to 9.
20 to 9, yeah. Were you counting them out at that point?
No, I literally said if they lose this game.
Yeah, well, that's
going to
a
be
fair.
very.
That's a fair.
But no one cares about the Chiefs here. We got to talk about Shedeur Sanders. That is where we are starting, guys. G and Bull, you did this exercise for us on the live watch party, so I'm going to start with Jay first on this one. But Jay, what grade would you give Shedeur Sanders in his first NFL start against the Las Vegas Raiders?
I give Shedeur Sanders a very solid B. Very solid. I think you and I were really close on the final score. Mm-hmm. There were no surprises in this game for me. I had his stats almost exactly. Almost exactly. I said he was going to be 12 for 25. He was 11 of 20. I said he was going to throw for 200 yards, a tutty, and a pick. Like, he did. Here's what he proved to me yesterday. And not that this is this is no grand statement, but I thought once the game was, when that was 14-3, to me the game was over. I said, now he's just got to manage the game. Don't screw it up. And aside from the interception, which I still don't know what he saw or what he was looking for. I don't know if he talked about that in postgame because I didn't hear his postgame. I'm not quite sure what the explanation was to that. But short of that, if the pass wasn't there, he threw it away. The thing that most impressed me was his biggest Achilles after last week was his retreat. He didn't do that yesterday. Now, the biggest mystery to me of the entire game was why in the world did the Raiders not send pressure? I'm thankful they didn't, but I wonder if that was talked about after the game. But he didn't really face pressure, so we don't know what that's going to look like when he does. I imagine he will against San Francisco. But the few times that the pocket was breaking down, he looked to step up, not step back. And playing quarterback in the NFL is an evolution. It's about building on what you've done successfully the week before and taking out, improving on your deficiencies and not forming new deficiencies. He did that. And for that, I got to give him a solid B. The throw downfield, that's what this offense has been desperately missing. And look, even if it was incomplete, what it showed me was he's not afraid to do it. And Dylan Gabriel is afraid to throw the ball past 10 yards. I think he feels like he'll turn into sugar water if he does that. And this guy is not afraid to sling it. And for that, I commend him. As for what, I really don't know what I would say I need to see improvement upon. I mean, obviously there's areas he can improve, but like the pass chart looks very similar to what it has all year long. A lot of passes this way, but one of them was busted for a 66-yard touchdown run, and we hadn't seen that. The last thing I'll say about Shedeur Sanders, we say all the time that a rising tide picks up all boats. The offensive line blocked better than I've seen them block all year. I thought, with the exception of that awful brain fart from Jerry Jeudy, I did think that the receivers were running hard routes. I think they were playing hard. I think it sparked the defense. There was clearly a jolt of energy that was sent through that Browns entire team, special teams, offense, defense, yesterday. Why? Because they were just as curious as we were. Let's see what he can do. with a week under his belt, and that excitement sparked something in this football team. Now, the key is, can he carry it over to San Francisco? And all of that, we're going to find out. But for what he was asked to do on Sunday and the amount of pressure he had to be under, his pops was there. Now, say what you will. We've all played youth athletics. We all know the feeling of dad being in the stands. On one hand, you're happy because if you do well, he's there to see it. But on the other hand, if you don't, you have to face him after the game. And that can be tough, especially when your dad is Deion Sanders.
Jason, what'd you think? And then we'll let the guys chime in who were on the show yesterday and kind of already did this exercise.
I thought the throw to Bond was a big time throw. That was a terrific throw. And I thought that it's sort of what we talked about. They put the guardrails up with him, and they very much limited what they wanted to see out of him, and he performed within the guardrails. And going back to Vegas's offense was so bad, they never had to put the ball in jeopardy. They never had to tell him, go win the game. And so he made, like, the throw to Judy before the...
I don't know what he was doing.
I don't know. I thought he popped a hamstring.
I did.
We're gonna get to that. I promise.
It's like, no, he didn't. I thought he hurt himself.
Yeah.
Like, no, he didn't get hurt himself. I don't know what he was thinking. The throw itself, like, that was a standard NFL throw. Like, that is a good play, but that's a throw that most quarterbacks in the NFL should make. It's just that we haven't seen that around here, so it looked dazzling and amazing. But the Bond throw was a terrific play. To feel the blitz, to as you said, Jay, to not do what he did last week, to not leak backwards, but to move to where he should have moved, to be able to pick him up, make that play. I was talking to Mike upstairs. The big thing with Shedeur is going to be, it feels to me like, and you guys can disagree, he's at his best when he's on the move.
Completely agree.
So how do you play with freedom within structure? How do you get him on the move to where it's not just a free-for-all, and it's not you, because you don't want your best plays to be when everything breaks down. True. Like, you're not going to have sustainable success in the NFL if the only time you have big plays is when everything breaks down and it becomes, hey, go deep, and like, that's just...
No, you can't live that way.
It works occasionally, but you can't have sustained success in the NFL.
But he is better on the run.
So how do you play with freedom within structure? And that's going to be the trick for these guys going forward. But they didn't ask a whole lot of, if you really look at it, a lot of the throws were dinks and dunks and short throws and quick throws. But you know, the one bad throw, it's one bad throw.
Yeah. Was it addressed, do you know, after?
I didn't hear him talk about it, but I missed the start of his post game because I was in the locker room.
It was, you know, on that play, if you watched, or what they did is they dropped the defensive end, play side in a hook zone. So the defensive end kind of flashed, dropped back into coverage, and I think, you know, he just didn't see the defensive end.
Well, I mean, he threw it to triple coverage.
Yeah, there was two guys there.
Triangulated. What grade do you give him?
I would give him C plus B minus.
Okay,
somewhere in there, because again, like
that's on a scale compared to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think a B, and I gave him a B yesterday. It was more like that's on a sliding scale to some degree.
Mine was a sliding scale, Bull. Mine was based on...
I mean, if you're going to base it on the rest of the quarterback play we've seen from the Browns this year, it's a B+.
Yeah, so, or you can base it on quarterbacks in general. Like, if you're just watching games and you're just looking at quarterbacks.
Right, then it's not a B.
Then it's not a B. No,
right,
and I want to make sure that because I didn't think to clarify my comments.
Yeah.
My comments are based on what the hell we've seen at quarterback this year.
And what he was asked to do, because he wasn't asked to do much.
And I definitely took that into account because, guys, this was a monumental ask. I know that it was the perfect storm. It was a bad offense. It was a bad defense. What was the crowd? What was it like?
It was 3/4 full, and it was half to 3/4 Browns of the 3/4.
So and I took that into account. I took into account that I know it's a road game, but it wasn't a hostile road game. So if I'm judging him based on all the quarterback play yesterday, where do I slide him in? He's probably a C in the middle of the pack, maybe a little below. But that's not the scale I'm using. I'm using Cleveland Browns, this situation. He's a rookie.
I mean, we've been drinking dirty river water.
That's exactly right. So
1 week of practice,
Kool-Aid with no sugar tastes pretty damn good right now.
When you take it into consideration, shout out to there's one thing that was legendary about it is we've seen quarterback play here for years and years and years since 1995. Not one rookie 0-17. 0-17.
Yeah, he's going down in the annals with guys like Eric Zier.
Starters. Eric Zier, he was the last person to do it. But the crazy thing, no cap is, and I'm gonna give him credit for this, man, because I don't think people understand the level of pressure level that is attached to it. Because I said before, listen, what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to say, listen, when Dillon Gabriel played against Minnesota, I said I wanted a succession of plays to watch him continue to play and develop to see if he got better from week to week. And I said, I'm not going to judge him, and I'm not going to say, get him up out of here in that 1 week and what we were talking about. He played those games, and Dillon Gabriel played 6 games. And we saw with the ups and downs and giving an opportunity and a runway. But we got people, shout out to Nick Wright. Nick Wright says he got 1 game. If he don't play well in this game, he may never play for the Cleveland Browns or another team again. So the reality of the situation is the sliding scale was completely different. If Shedeur Sanders did not come out and acclimate himself well in this football game, there would have been a movement to move him out, and he would not even be playing. He wouldn't even be here talking about the 49ers. So that level of pressure that comes with that, knowing that you got 1 shot, 1 opportunity to go out here and prove yourself on 3 or 4 days, is what the pressure of the position is about. And I thought he did a great job of saying it is what it is. And at the end of the game, hey, I can't control who was getting reps and what reps was going to come, but I'm going to take them reps and make the opportunity the best of the opportunity. And I thought he did a good job of making that the best of his opportunity. When you look at the sidelines, you look at Myles Garrett and go, wow, I ain't seen that throw in a minute. I could get behind that. You watch the energy level of the team. You watch the energy level of the atmosphere, and it had juice. It had pop to it. The throw he threw to Isaiah Bond was the best throw we've seen from any quarterback from the Cleveland Browns this year, bar none.
Well, that's not saying much, but it's easily true.
It's very
What
easy.
have we seen downfield? I don't think anything.
That throw alone, based on what it is, the fact that he was able to make that play, get blasted, got hit by 2 dudes, and put it on the money, we love it.
Gee, that pass, 42 air yards, the longest pass via air yards the Browns have had since Joe Flacco in 2023.
I believe it.
Heads up.
What did you get your grade?
Jameis never had a throw longer than that in the air last year?
According to Daniel Oyefusi, who was quote tweeting,
that is
Next
surprising.
Gen
I would have
Sports.
guessed that he had done it.
My grade I give him.
Yeah.
I give him a solid B.
Yeah.
I said it when Mikey McNuggets. I'm gonna give him a solid B just for this alone. We talked about 3 or 4 things when you talk about progression, what you want to see from somebody. The game against the Ravens, there was some little skittish in the pocket. It was some double pumping. He was moving around. It looked like the speed of the game was fast. You turn that game on, the speed of the game wasn't fast. He took 1 sack for 3 yards. He got rid of the ball. And I told you in the pregame, the key to this game is understanding what type of time you want. That's half of being a quarterback. Is understanding what fight you in and then delivering what needs to be the counter to what we're doing. Max Crosby, no sacks for you today, buddy. I thought Tommy Reese did a good job with that. And also, Shedeur didn't make the big mistake when it was 14-3. He understood, I got a defense playing like this with Myles Garrett. We ain't going to throw the ball in harm's way. We're going to get the ball out of bounds. And when we needed to make a play, people can say it's a screen pay, and it was, dink and dunk. But there was times, to be honest, Dillon Gabriel had that same screenplay opportunity against the Jets. He threw it over Corley's head, and that could have been a touchdown because of the way it was blocked up. They came back to it. He got the touchdown. Let your guys make some plays. So I give him a solid B. And by the way, I'm completely interested in seeing what he's doing next week. This ain't the beginning. We ain't doing victory laps. We want to see the progression.
Yeah,
we on the 49ers.
If we're doing an NFL quarterback scale, then I'd be with Jason. It was a C. But I'm looking at more like a rookie quarterback scale, and on that I give him a B because it's a weird game because he didn't make a ton of great plays, but I thought it was so much progress from what we saw the second half of last week.
Didn't look
like
anything
the second
like
half
that.
of last week, outside of a couple of throws, there were so many bad decisions he made in terms of throwing the ball, in terms of backing up, and he made very few bad decisions in yesterday's game. And that's what I like to see. As you said, he did not run backwards at all. The couple of times he was pressured, he went sideways or went forward, stepped up in the pocket, or got out of the pocket sideways. The 1 sack he took was only a 3 or 4 yard sack.
Very short.
It wasn't anything big. The pick was a really bad throw. That's going to happen. There's no, what can you say? It was a bad throw. I mean, no doubt about it. But when Myles Garrett says, even though it's not really true, I don't think. But when Myles Garrett says not a lot of guys can make that throw, we know that there's plenty of guys that can make that throw, but nobody on the Browns can make that
We
throw.
haven't seen anybody.
Nobody else on the Browns can make that
Minus
throw.
Flacco and Winston, I don't know who's made that throw for us in
Joe
3 years.
Joe can't move. And Dylan doesn't have the size and the arm strength.
No.
So
Right.
Shedeur at least has enough of
Yes.
He's not the most athletic and most mobile. He doesn't have the Flacco arm, but he has enough of both to be able to make a play.
Hey, Mike, what percentage of the time did the Raiders send extra blitzers?
Usually it takes 24 hours for that
okay.
number to come out.
Okay.
So
I was talking to Mike upstairs. I heard a couple people say the Raiders were sending the house. I'm like, did we watch the same game?
No, they didn't.
I thought they would. I think the Browns were
I
preparing
can't believe
for
they
heavy
didn't.
pressure.
If you
and
would
they
have told
didn't
me
get it.
after watching that game that one of the coordinators is going to be fired, I would have said, "Oh, the defensive coordinator's gone because he didn't blitz a rookie quarterback who showed he's very vulnerable to the blitz."
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't. Thank God they didn't. It was a perfect storm for us.
There were also a lot of times where he made the decision to throw the ball out of bounds.
Yeah.
Or he made the decision, like he wanted to go deep a couple other plays, and he was like, all right, let me take this check down.
Yeah.
And I thought he made a lot of smart decisions. And just the way it looked in the second half, which was so bad two weeks ago, to the way it looked this past week, I mean, I know we're going to get into who should start, but it's pretty much a no-brainer.
I don't know how. Does anybody think Dylan Gabriel should start?